I dream and the world trembles.
You are listening to the Emerald Dreamcast, a World of Warcraft podcast, with your hosts, Hazel and Wow Martian.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream on this very American July 4th, 2016. And we have our converted American in the background there somewhere.
I don't know about converted. That's a debatable topic.
Is it legal, though?
For what? For me to light fireworks? I'm not sure.
You're a citizen, right?
No. I'm really not. I'm a permanent resident. There's a very big difference.
Oh. Get out. No.
Wow.
Sorry.
I thought we were friends.
I am. Bring me some maple syrup. We'll talk. I'm just saying. So you gotta be feeling. This is way off topic, obviously, but you gotta feel a little conflicted today, don't you?
Conflicted.
A little bit. I mean, you're here and you're like, "Yay, America!" But you're like, "I'm still Canadian." So isn't that a little bit?
It's not really that weird. I asked my husband what we normally do to celebrate 4th of July when I first came here, and he was like, nothing. And then, I mean, that's been pretty easy so far. So it hasn't really been a big deal. From what I understand, people tend to drink and barbecue things and light fireworks, and they do it all outside. And I'm not big on outdoor drinking, but maybe I just haven't had the right venue for it.
That's the thing. It's very American. We drink, we eat, light things on fire. It's just we blow stuff up. That's we destroy stuff. That's America. So is this not your first 4th here?
No, I think it's actually my 3rd. I've been here for a while now.
Okay, I couldn't remember how long. Okay, but I the only reason I kind of ask is there's some more people that Twitter and just people. Like, well, I don't know if they still
they're
are
not
citizens
anymore.
No,
they've become something more.
They haven't mentioned that, but it could be. No, what I'm saying is they I don't know if they still have citizenship in the UK or they're living here. So
yeah.
They feel a little conflicted. They're just like, but yeah, this is great, freedom and all, but you guys kicked my people out.
Yeah.
So I never thought about that before.
Canada and America have a much friendlier history, so we're not...
For now.
Be fine.
Wait till Trump gets his wall up there, too.
Gosh.
Those Mounties, they're not coming through no more. It's gonna be huge. So, anyway. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. We've got,
we have like a month's worth of catching up.
Let's go into that too.
Okay, so let's travel back in time to 2 weeks ago to figure out what happened there. So I was convinced I was going to be fine for the podcast. What happened was I had a foot surgery in the morning, but it's a pretty minor. It's just like an inpatient, or you don't have to an outpatient. I don't know. I didn't have to stay in the hospital or anything. I just went and got it done, went home, and I thought it was going to be fine. But it turns out the pain meds that they gave me, which I ended up needing, were some stuff. They were pretty good in a way that made me concerned about my performance on the podcast. So we decided to take that week off just so I didn't say anything that would get fired from his. I don't even know.
Yes. Hazel, we're releasing you from your contract.
Yeah. So we avoided that, and then last week was the week of my internet being just dunzo.
Yeah, that
which was
bizarre.
Kind of a spiritual experience, but not one that I really wanted to opt into. Turns out there's not that much inner peace to be found within me, and my whole life is on the internet. So I was very, very bored. Ended up playing a bunch of Dark Souls, and was basically offline for about 5 days of like reading books and doing nothing because I couldn't work or anything. So I'm glad I'm back now.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're back too, because like I said, it was a little disconcerting because, you know, at first it's like surgery. I had no idea, and then you're like, yeah, my toe. I'm like,
yeah, it's not. It wasn't a big deal. It's fine now. I was all worried that I would have an ugly foot, but if anything, it looks better than before. So I don't know why I was so worried about having an ugly foot, but I'm like, what if they just ruin this and then I have just like a maimed foot forever? What if I can never be a foot model? And I never wanted to be a foot model, but you know, it's just not nice to have the doors closed on you in life.
Yeah. By the way, special shout out to Blondie Murlock in the chat, staying up till 2:30 in the morning. We get a lot of people in the UK that do that. Sean of Nintendo does that sometimes too. So shout out for you guys hanging out that late to listen to this. That's what's great. I mean, To be fair, I love you guys being live, but if you gotta go to bed, go to bed. You can listen to it later.
We fully support and recommend adequate amounts of sleep as well as staying up all night gaming.
Yeah, no.
Are you familiar with, and we'll I'm gonna derail this for a second, like that's terribly surprising.
Right.
Are you familiar with the Gremlin Diva meme? The
You
one
know,
where she's all about the Doritos and the Mountain Dew because she's a gamer.
I think I've seen this reference somewhere, but I haven't actually seen it
I've
myself.
seen so many like Overwatch memes and comics, and they're so good. And I've seen
Right.
so much Gremlin Diva where she's been portrayed as just like this hilarious, like internet obsessed gamer that just like shoves Doritos and Mountain Dew into her face. That I actually went out and bought some Doritos because I was like, you know what, it's been a long time since I've had Doritos. So if that
Wow.
was kind of undercover marketing campaign, they done good.
Right,
They just
Blizzard
focus
and
on that.
Doritos are going to be hooking up. Hey, well, I mean, to be fair, there is a bit of a connection there. Think about the Taco Bell Overwatch thing, and they have Doritos tacos.
That's
So
true.
Maybe.
Conspiracy theories.
Anyway. Thank you guys again for stopping by on this 4th of July. I didn't know how many people would actually show up because, again, blowing stuff.
Yeah.
So.
We have in the past taken holidays off, but we figured because we've already done 2 in a row, if we took a third one off, people might forget that we were live.
Right.
I know I had a lot of messages when I was offline for 5 days. People were very concerned that I had actually died. I don't think I've ever been offline that long before.
That
Like,
was bizarre, too. I mean, you said I watched your vlog. From what I got was that they went to hook somebody else up and they disconnected you.
basically, yeah. So it was a lazy or malicious tech. We haven't really nailed down which one. It's kind of out of our hands at this point. But instead of making a new connection for the new people, they basically just assumed that we had moved out and weren't living there anymore, and just unplugged ours and gave it to somebody else. And then nobody could figure that out for the 5 days that we were like restarting our ONT. And I learned an awful lot about fiber connection hardware because I had to like try and fix it when there was nothing wrong with it. So yeah, I'm not super pleased with our I never thought I would miss Comcast. I'm not super pleased with Frontier, but what are you gonna do? So.
Right, and that's exactly it. I mean, you really got to pick the lesser of the evils when it comes to internet. They say that there's not a monopoly, but most of the time, at least you have options. Most places don't have options. I mean, around here, we really do. I mean, yeah, I guess there's like those really like almost dial-up, but not really kind of mom and pop places. But yeah, obviously that's not really an option. So, but by the way, that whole little speech there's very Canadian stuff came out for they're out and about just a little bit.
You know how people with like accents or people that English is their second language, it kind of comes out when they get very passionate about something. I was very upset about being without it.
No, I understand. Trust me, I was twitching for you. It was just like It would be bad. It would be very, very bad. In fact, when we first moved into this house, we didn't have internet for a while because Comcast is like, we don't service you. I'm like, there's nobody else that does. Yes, you do. And it took about 2 weeks before we actually got internet in the house.
Yeah.
So anyway, Turwinkle in the house. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. He does a lot of good videos and he does some streaming as well. So
Welcome.
anyway, so
Joe.
Yes.
What did you do this week in WoW?
What did I do this weekend? Wow, honestly, very little. I mean, it's sad because at this point, I'm kind of ready for Legion.
Well, we could back it up to the last 3 weeks.
Well, even then, I don't know. I mean, I've done my Garrison stuff, and, I did dip my toe into the Brawlers Guild a little bit because I want to get that mount before it goes away, but I don't know if I could really be bothered that much. I've done a little bit. I think I'm only at rank 3 or something now.
Oh, you gotta finish that. It'll take you like an hour.
Really? See, well, it depends on how many people are doing it. That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
I found out like a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. There's nobody. There was like no line. I was just going straight in. So, yeah, I probably need to just get on that. But at this point, honestly, this is obviously a WoW podcast and everything else, but I am so entrenched in Overwatch.
Right?
That I can't help myself. With competitive mode, I am like all full bore. I'm not doing well. My teams aren't doing well, but every time I do get up there, and every time we get a win, I get that little point. That's my golden weapon. So
which one are you gonna get?
I don't know yet. I would have gone full Junkrat because I have about 30 hours on him compared to like the next one I think is Reaper with 16 hours. So I thought I was going there, but man, I'm digging Reinhardt lately, and I'm starting to play some other ones. Today, actually, I just went ahead and played a lot of quick plays and played a bunch of different other heroes to try and get more acclimated with them. So
yeah.
But yeah.
That's a great thing to do.
Anyway.
Man. Yeah, I'm kind of in that same stage of WoW where I'm looking at all the things that won't be available in like 2 or so weeks of the pre-patch, and I'm just
Mm,
like deciding which ones I can and can't live without.
right.
I've written off challenge modes, which is a little bit silly just because I could totally buy challenge mode carry. My entire guild did it. I think you did it, didn't you?
No, I've considered it, but I don't think
Yeah.
I'm going.
And I've just like looked at the rewards and I'm like, I don't want to spend 2 hours and some gold. That's how little I care about this. Like
Agreed.
the weapon transmogs aren't going to be worth anything until after Legion because we're going to have artifact weapons. And then I don't even remember. It's like a Yeti. I got enough mats. I'm good. So I wrote that one off. The other one is Arena Master, and people are giving me hell for this because I only have one achievement left for Arena Master, and that's to get 2200 in fives, which is not hard by any stretch of the imagination. I'm easily like that at that level. I would just need to find 4 other people and like do it for a day.
Right.
Cannot be bothered, and I don't really care about arena. Like I never see an arena master and go, "Ah, damn, that person must be good," because it's not a skilled achievement to get. It's just kind of grindy.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna let that one pass me by too, and thank Metzen that I'll never have to do fives because every now and then somebody's like, "Hey, do you want to do fives?" And I'm like, I gotta go wash my cat. So it'll be nice to not have to lie anymore, you know?
No, well, and your cat will be very, very happy. They don't.
Oh, I've never washed my cat. She keeps herself very clean.
Well, yes, thankfully they're
The
self-cleaning.
one day that she like trips and falls into a vat of molasses is going to be a very bad day for everybody.
Yeah. Where does this? I don't know where you come up with this stuff.
Anyways, so I reached gold cap. I pulled a U and
You pulled a
only
me.
squeezed enough gold out of my garrison to have maxed it out in one character, and now I'm just kind of sitting around going, well, now what?
Yeah. I
guess
thought you'd already
it's
done
half a
that.
spider mount. It's half a spider
I
mount.
thought you'd already done that.
No, I never did. I
Okay.
always bought stuff, but then I eventually ran out of stuff to buy, and I eventually ran out of tokens to buy, and it's like, well, I guess I'll just accumulate it.
Right. And I should. That's the thing. I should be at least logging into my garrisons and getting that stuff done because I'm missing out on so much gold. But
Honestly, if it wasn't for the spider mount, I wouldn't be bothering. If there wasn't something that I knew I needed in Legion that was going to cost more than I actually have right now, gold has just lost all value to me.
right, and that I've thought about that too. And there was a temptation. I was like, but I'll never make 2 mil by that time anyway. And it is just one mount. I think I'd kick myself for spending that much gold on one mount.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it's a mount.
Did you see the forum thread about that mount? Oh my goodness. Okay, it was pretty funny.
Salt? Is there some salt?
There was some salt. Okay, so like I'm not gonna. I don't remember what word for word, but the title of it was something to do with the spider mount needs to be removed from the game. And the post starts: the spider mount is not a mount. It is a tool for harassment against players with arachnophobia. And the person goes on like that and gets like downvoted 80 times. And everybody's like, well, what about the people that are afraid of fish or birds? Or like mountains, how do you go outside? And they're like, I don't know. I just thought that was so funny. It's not a mount.
It's just
The harassment tool.
it's a
Don't tell people you're scared of spiders, and they probably won't jump on you.
right, and that's the thing. And I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm insensitive. I'm not generally the most caring person. I'm actually kind of awful, but that was just the funniest thing to me that somebody was so upset about that.
Well, and that's the thing. They're turning into. I don't want to get into a big thing, but let's face it. There are people that make a career on the internet out of being offended.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
they literally go out of their way to stumble into something that offend them, then make their Twitter accounts dedicated to just being offended, and it's like, all right, whatever. And to look into, I mean, I appreciate, like you said, I have a friend that's deathly afraid of spiders. It hasn't
Absolutely.
hasn't
Oh,
stopped.
I have utter respect for it. Like in real life, I would never put somebody in a situation that they're not comfortable with if they have a phobia. I'm not their therapist. That's not my place.
Right.
But you got to accept that it's a game with a lot of stuff in it.
Right, and and there's been spiders forever. In fact, like
Ever.
my-
Spider pets, and you can blow those up to the size of a mount.
right, I'll never forget the friend I was talking about in particular. Actually, it's on Twitter, KT Death Hope. There's Wrath, and she plays Alliance most of the time, but she rolled a Horde, and she over in the undead area, and there's that cave that has spiders right in that starting area, and you get to the point where you have to like kill the main spider, and you walk into the cave and you don't know it's on the ceiling and it drops down, and she was, so I felt bad about that, but not that bad. So, but anyway, well, one thing I want to mention real quick before we get too deep, because we're probably going to talk a lot of, for me, I'm probably going to talk a lot of beta stuff, because at this point there isn't a ton to talk about live, and we've both been kind of bouncing around. Hazel's done great videos on Legion, by the way. If you guys have not seen her channel, Hazelnutty Games. Go check it out. There's great pet battle stuff and fishing. All these things. Talk about Legion. Go check those videos. But for me, I have a very important day tomorrow. And it's not, it sounds like I have some kind of new job. I already have a new job. This actually is really bizarre to me. Tomorrow will be 10 years to the day that I started playing World of Warcraft. And it's just bizarre that it's been that long. I distinctly remember the date only because I wanted to have the 4th of July off from my job at the time, and they wouldn't give it to me. Too many people requested it off, so I had to have the 5th, so that's why it sticks in my head. But yeah, and then like 2 weeks later, I ended up moving from Indiana to North Carolina, so like most of my time, all this training, Warcraft has been through, me and Warcraft have been through a lot in my life. So stands a month and a half when I went Rift when that time I have sub from. So yeah, 10 years. It's really, really bizarre. Hazel does YouTube. Yes, Neon. Oh, okay. Slightly trolling. Oh, I'm gonna find him another Canadian.
My question for you, relative to this topic, is 10 years ago when you started playing WoW, did you see yourself playing this game for 10 years? Do you have any idea?
Not at all. In fact, the big example I have of that one, about 6 months before he launched playing. So when I went to the midnight release, but I only got the standard edition because I don't know if I want to spend that much money on the collector's edition. I'm not sure how long I'll be playing this. Literally, that was why I was like, I don't want to spend that much. And then I end up buying it off of eBay for like $150 just to add it to my collection. So, yeah, that was I had no idea. I knew I was totally addicted because I got the 10-day free pass from my friends that I was playing Call of Duty with to start playing. And like
you used to play Call of Duty?
I was playing Call of Duty too. I was in a clan. It was competitive. That's one of the reasons why I love Overwatch, because we were serious. We had matches and all that stuff. So, yeah, and all of a sudden one day they just disappeared. They were on TeamSpeak at the time talking to each other, but they weren't in our server. I'm like, where are you guys? And they're like, we're playing World of Warcraft. What? So they gave me the 10-day pass. Yeah, nerds. And then the next day I went and bought the game. I didn't even go the full 10 days. So, yeah. So tomorrow's... Sorry.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess.
I think they should mail you like a golden axe, but they probably won't do that.
Congratulations. How much money have you given Blizzard overall?
Seriously?
Besides the sub.
Have you ever looked at that number? Have you ever added it all up?
No.
It's terrifying.
No, I couldn't.
You don't want to know.
Okay,
believe me.
Okay, here's back when, just to give you an idea. At one point, I had characters that were on the Alliance. Take them to. So not only did I server transfer, but I faction, and that was 10 characters.
Oh my god.
It was 10 characters.
Ow.
Yeah, like I said, times were better then.
And then the Spark opponent comes out and everybody's like, oh my god, Blizzard wants more money.
Right. Right. And actually, we could go into a topic. Are we ready to roll with the rest of this? We've had this big intro, like 20 minutes now.
Oh, I thought our intro just kind of like amorphously oozed into the rest of the podcast. I figured that was just kind of our plan.
It usually does. But one thing we could talk about, though, is there's an interesting topic that's kind of been going around, and something that is concerning me, my alts and stuff like that, is the fact that Blizzard is doing a lot in terms of changing stuff, things a little bit more up to date, trying to bring the game up to date. And one thing that has been mentioned a lot is talking about reducing prices for different services. And I think people have been talking about that for a long time. And I guess not so much seeing them, although that would obviously be nice. The big thing I keep seeing, beneficial to me, is bulk rates for transferring multiple characters. And I mean, these days servers are dead and everything else, and people want to pick up and kind of move. So I've always thought, it's like buy get one free or something kind of thing should happen. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I've seen this come up a lot, and I've seen people ask for periodic discounts, bulk rates, and I think that, well, that's a great idea, and ideally all of those services should be free because they cost Blizzard basically nothing at this point.
Right.
They're never going to do that because they have no reason to. Like, there's no reason for them to do that. People aren't quitting because it's too expensive to transfer their characters, especially in this day and age with the amount of cross-realm technology we have access to. You can do pretty much anything that you need to do while on your current realm. I mean, maybe your realm won't have the best community or the best auction house, but aside from that, you're not being limited as to who you can raid with or PvP with or whatever.
Right.
So they're not going to make those things cheaper until it benefits them to do so, and I don't think it will. They make money off it, and
Yeah.
there's no reason for them to put it on sale. As long as people keep buying them,
And that's
there's
the
no
thing.
reason to make it cheaper.
Exactly.
Blind demand.
And it hasn't stopped people from using it.
No, absolutely not.
You never see a sale on anything until it's not selling anymore. And at this point, yeah, it would be nice that if they would do something for bulk stuff, but reducing prices I don't expect. But yeah,
I think a bulk rate might actually be a little bit more realistic, just because
Right.
somebody that would never transfer 10 characters might think about doing it at 30% price, and that's a non-zero like profit. But
right.
maybe
Right.
we'll
And
see.
speaking of cross realm and stuff, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but they had a post about future grouping with people from oceanic servers and stuff.
Oh my goodness, people lost their minds over that.
Really? I didn't see
the
that.
The Reddit thread was just like an absolute salt hole, which was
Oh,
very
great.
funny because they're actually like people have been able to group with players in LFG like Raid Finder and Dungeon Finder and Battlegrounds for a
Right.
very long time. You've been getting Brazilian players and Australian players in your
Oh,
groups
right.
forever.
Yeah.
And all this is letting you do is if you have an Australian friend and you want to go farm rep with them or do something in the world, now you can. But everybody took this to mean that we're going to get a bunch of Brazilian players in our dungeon groups when that's already the case.
Right.
And people just took it as an excuse to get extraordinarily racist. And it was kind of funny to watch, but you know, I'm white, so it's hard to offend me. So it was awful. It was
Right,
really
no,
bad.
And I saw a little bit of that, and that's the thing. I just like you, I was like, at this point, I was like, this is talking about voluntarily grouping with them. This is not something random, like you said. It's been happening anyway. So, yeah, because I mean, it's dungeons and stuff. That's fine out in the world. And I didn't realize that until one time I went to help somebody with the thing. Luckily, they didn't need my help. They just direction. But yeah, it was weird to be grouped with somebody but not see.
Yeah. I actually had no idea that you couldn't already do that. I mean, I've had friends from Brazilian realms and from Australian realms, and the opportunity never came up to play in the open world. But if it had, I would have been very disappointed in the past to find out that you just can't do that. And now I guess you can. So nothing but a good thing.
Right.
Especially now when I'm like finding new friends every day. I've been working on Ravenholt rep. It's pretty bad. The last thing I need for the insane title though, so I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. And I've been making lots of friends of people that are, you know, masochistically forcing themselves to do this just as much as I am. So that's been nice.
I was gonna finish up the legendary at some point, but I haven't quite got to that.
Well, if you are ever going to do that and you are also going for the insane title and the same character, make sure that you get your Ravenholt rep to 1199 of Honored before you start that, because that 3k or so Ravenholt rep that you get from the Fangs of the Father quest line will go towards your total, and you want to do that after you've gotten through the easy part of farming mobs.
Right. I highly doubt that I'll do it on that character. I don't.
Yeah.
I'd have to look and see. In the chat room, we did have Blondie Murloc actually asking, what do we think about demon hunters? And I definitely have something to say about that, and I actually have almost said something on Twitter, but I have held back. So I'm curious what you think. Have you tested one?
Yeah, I have tested one. I've done the starting experience twice. I've played a little bit of both specs. I didn't pay too much attention to the tanking spec because I'm not really much of a tank. But I think they play well. They seem fun. Some people get very upset about the fact they can double jump, but now that flying is just kind of a normal thing to have happen, I don't think it's that game breaking. Most people can get to those places anyways. And in the Legion world, it's only going to be a temporary advantage. I wish they had added something different. When I was speculating back in the day about what they would add, because we all figured that we were due for a new class, I really wanted them to add like a shadow archer of some sort, just kind of like a Vol'jin Sylvanas archetype. Possibly even one that could heal from range, like some kind of, I don't even know, just figure something out. I want another healing spec. I wanted a range DPS spec, so I'm not very happy that we only have 2 specs and that they're only melee. But I think as an actual class, it plays pretty well, and the lore's cool and they look cool. So that's
It's funny that you say that, because I was on a podcast. It was pre-BlizzCon 2013, before Warlords was announced, and I was asked what new would be coming in Warlords, and I said that same thing: Shadow Hunter with a healing spec. Because I played a bounty hunter in Star Wars: The Old Republic that had a healing spec, and I thought that was awesome. So I was kind of hoping, especially Vol'jin and Pandaria and War Chief and all that stuff. It just seemed to make sense, but obviously, myself personally, I don't know what it is, but I have no interest in a demon hunter. I just don't. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Maybe it's because partially it's just the hot new thing, and I'm just like, well, wait till it dies down. Or it's more like, you know what? I have enough classes. They're changing the classes so much to the point where there's a lot of new feel to a lot of them. I mean, you got Rogue that has a completely different spec now. I'm wondering if it's just because I'm overwhelmed with everything else, and I don't really have time or care to start a new character when I want to take care of the ones that I've had for eons.
I feel a lot of the same way, especially with how much effort it's going to be taking to get not only a character leveled up, but also their artifact weapon up to date in Legion to actually play with. I used to think that I would absolutely make a demon hunter and I would play it a bunch and maybe try it out in PvP. And now I've realized I'm probably going to make one. I mean, they'll give me a character slot. There's no reason not to have one. And also they have a battle pet that is only available from having a demon hunter and doing their class order haul thing. So I'm going to have one for that. But outside of that, I have stuff already, and I'm going to have my hands plenty full at Legion without deciding to mess around in a new class that I really have no business being on. I'm more of a range person anyways. I've never really played a melee spec to any... Like, I've leveled them before, and I've done a little bit of tanking, but for actual competitive gameplay, I have always been ranged.
So they have a class-specific pet for the Demon Hunter? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so there is this kind of big kerfuffle. I don't know. I'm making up words here.
Hubbub. It works.
Yeah, that's a word, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
just
make that up.
No, that's a thing.
Okay, cool. So there is a big kerfuffle hubbub about there being class order hall pets that were not cageable, so that you had to have a character of that class in order to unlock the pet. And they basically said that people that are the kind of people that want to have every single pet are also likely to either have alts or make alts in order to get those pets. So we're not going to reverse this decision. I thought that was a little bit iffy, but I mean, I don't really care. I've got all the classes anyways. And it turns out, and actually one of the beta and looked, and the only class order hall pets, there are 2 of them for Druid, 1 of them for Demon Hunter, and that's it.
Okay.
So it's very strange to me that's
strange.
The spread of the thing that they're holding to their guns on. It's just weird, but well, I mean, whatever.
Maybe it's the same thing like the achievements for leveling different classes. They have the achievement for going up to 5. That's it. Instead of, I mean, they've got 11 classes, but you can only get the achievement up to 5 because they don't want to pressure people into feeling like they have to do the same thing with leveling different classes.
Maybe they just put it on Demon Hunter to encourage more people to play Demon Hunters, and Druids because I don't know, they like them. Druids get 2. Yeah, there's 9 classes that get none, and Druids get 2 of them. But I have Druids, so I mean, I have
Blizzard,
like 7 Druids, so
I don't get their decision making sometimes. Like level up to 5. Why 5? I don't know. It came to me.
Just do it.
You know, and pets for class specific pets for class order halls. Demon Hunter, well, of course, it's new. Yeah, of course. And Druid, why? Because.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, maybe they're adding more, but you'd think at this point things would be more or less done in terms of putting stuff in. You'd think they'd be on the fixing things stage by now. I mean, it's mid-July. It's not mid-July, but it's July. We're in less than 2 months.
Yeah, it's a little disconcerting. I mean, there's a couple achievements. Well, there's an achievement for each zone in terms of trying to figure out how they connect to the rares, because I am looking at doing rares guide for my channel. Yeah. And there's no indication as to how they work or what they entail, and I'm actually sent an email to my contact at Blizzard. No, it sounds awful. I didn't mean it to sound so uppity, but to the person I'm supposed to email about content creation stuff, and yeah, I haven't heard back. So. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking to chat.
Okay. So yeah, at this point though, I mean, everything's looking good, but I mean, it does seem a little bit weird that we're. I mean, if what I'm hearing is correct from more than one source, that we've got about 2 weeks before pre-patch.
That's my estimate. Yeah, based on all of the information we have available to us, I would put. Not very much money because I'm fairly broke, but I would put some money on July the 19th. I think that's a pretty likely date.
I've heard that number before, so that's the interesting thing. I don't know if there's any weight to that at all, but you're not the first person to say that. So
Yeah.
we
Anyways.
shall see. So, have you done any raid testing? I wanted to go in the LFG, but I haven't actually.
Absolutely none of it. I heard LFG was up, and then I went and looked, and it was no longer up. So I guess I missed my window on that. But I wasn't really LFR. I mean, I wasn't really terribly disappointed because I'm gonna have plenty of time to be bored in LFR when Legion actually comes out. And my plan as far as tackling raids when they're available is, I'm gonna level my character and get her as up to date as I can, whatever. And then I'm probably just gonna go watch some Fat Boss guides, and then I'm gonna go raid. And
Yeah.
that'll be it. So I haven't seen too much raid testing. I have looked through some raid logs because I'm trying to get a feel for how good Shadow Priests are going to be because I hope that numbers are kind of sort of close to getting done. It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
But I want to, like, if I'm, like, top 70% of the pack in terms of raw numbers as a Shadow Priest, and that's fine. But if I'm really going to be dead last and I could, like, be 40% more effective by rolling a Warlock or something, I might look into it.
Yeah.
I undecided. But I'm not very good at deciphering logs. So I didn't really get very far with that.
How far have you gotten in terms of leveling? Did you
I'm
level?
110 again.
Did you get okay? Okay, I thought you had, but I couldn't remember.
A friend of mine and I decided to do a test run because we decided we're going to get marathon level when Legion comes out, and we wanted to do a test run to kind of figure out our routes and see if we're actually capable of staying up for like however many hours it's going to take, and just kind of do a test run. And we did that, and we made it to like 107 before. I don't remember what happened. Something happened that we couldn't go any further with like the servers or something, but it was rough. We were pretty much ready for bed at that point. So it's a hard one to do in one sitting. It's going to be doable if you get lots of, your Mountain Dew and your Doritos and some apples or whatever your healthy gamer marathon snack food is. But yeah, I got back to 110 because you cannot do the pet battle stuff until you're 110.
Right.
I kept trying to test it on beta and I couldn't figure out why the tamers were never there, and they are all tied to world quests.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me is I want to know more about how Endgame's going to work, and because I mean, let's face it, that was what was difficult in Warlords. That's where things kind of went haywire. So I want to definitely know that, but I don't have the time to level a character all the way up. So.
Yeah, it takes quite a while. I would say probably close to 20 hours, I would say, front to back. We had, of course, some disconnects and some issues, and I fell off a couple cliffs I didn't need to. But it was a good long leveling session. So yeah, but it does seem like a lot of the content is absolutely tied to world quests, and those do not unlock until you're level 110.
Right. Now, let me ask you this, because I mean, I've watched a few YouTube videos on different content creators and talk about leveling and everything else, and one thing that I really liked about Warlords, probably the main thing I liked about Warlords, was the leveling experience. I thought it was fantastic. How does it compare? Because I've actually heard it's better.
How does the end game compare?
No, leveling in
leveling in Broken Isles.
Right, Broken Isles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's. I don't know. I really like Warlords leveling. I thought Warlords leveling was great.
Right. I see. I think it's difficult to beat. Now, the little bit that I've done, and literally I'm almost like 103. That's about as far as I've gotten. It's good. It's interesting. There's a lot of story and a lot of voice acting, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I don't see how it's going to surpass what Warlords was, because that was fantastic.
I think it's a little bit finickier. Sometimes there's a little bit more confusion about where to go or where the cave entrance is. Some of the areas are a little bit harder to navigate, but that also serves to make the world a little bit more alive. So it's kind of a trade-off. There's a couple of weird quests where you're not going to immediately understand what to do because they just tried to think outside the box. And I think the one thing that they really did with Warlords was they did not innovate with their questing, and I actually appreciate that. Yeah. I get so sick of like doing an old like a Cataclysm quest where like, okay, kill the mob for the juice, and then put the juice on this stick, and then take the stick and then go let it on fire in the fire, and then like wave your juicy fire stick around until some mobs come, and then you kill that, and then you eat its heart, and then you're done. And I can't stand that because it's just a bunch of things that you have to already know how to do or look up in Wowhead, because nobody's going to figure that out no matter how many times they tell you in your quest text. So I really liked about Warlords, it was you kill these things, you collect this item, these mobs drop it, you kill this boss, you're done. And I don't think anybody's really looking for more from the questing experience at this time. When you go questing, I don't think you're really looking for weird stuff to do, you know?
Okay, so I just want to kind of go back for a second there. That Cataclysm quest with the stick, how does that quest chain go?
Oh, I just made that up. It was an example.
Yeah.
You want me to say it again?
Yeah. How does that?
Well, you kill the mob, and then you get the juice, and then you take your juice and you put it on the stick, and then you go to the fire with your juicy stick, and then you let it on fire, and then you wave your fiery juice stick around until a mob comes, and then you kill it. Then you take its heart. And
I just had to see if you could recall that.
Of course.
Oh, well, I think this episode's got to be called Fiery Juice Stick. I don't think I can call this episode anything else but Fiery Juice Stick now.
Uh-huh.
That whole quest chain needs to be text on the back of it. You are like a marketing machine. Anyway,
I had another thought that's completely gone in the whole Fiery Juice Stick rant. What
Fiery
was
Juice
it?
Stick. That was in the Barrens,
We were talking about
wasn't it?
questing in Legion.
That was in the Barrens, right? The Fiery Juice.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The Fiery Juice Stick of the Barrens.
Oh my goodness.
Southern Barrens. Anyway.
But yeah, the questing's good.
Yeah, see, I think it's fine, but it's funny because I was wondering if it was me that was just getting lost, because like High Mountain sometimes, like all over the place, and because I've tried to find the rares and stuff like that, and sometimes there's just that one spot on the map. I'm like, how the hell do I get there? I've been through every, cave, because there's caves that go like completely through to the other side and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't figure this out.
There's yeah. I mean, if you're just trying to get your quest done, you're not going to get super lost. There are some areas that probably have rares in them that are only navigable by, especially in High Mountain, there's some mountain paths that you can go up.
Right.
And you have to kind of look on the map to try and figure out where those start. And there's actually a really beautiful mountain climb that we ended up doing just because it looked cool. Like there was nothing up there for us. We were like, man, where does this path go? And then it was like a really, really scenic mountain climb with like music and snow, and it was like super atmospheric. And maybe it was because it was 4 a.m, but it was just like this really incredible experience. So there's really cool stuff out there.
I think I
do think it's better than Spires. Spires of Iraq can go back to where it came from.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned. Until Flying came out, that zone was horrible, and it's definitely not that bad.
I have done as minimal in Spires of Iraq as of Iraq.
Spires of Iraq.
I'm leaving that. But yeah, I've done just enough to open up the next whatever garrison building that you have to get the stupid thing from, and then get that one follower, and that's it. That's as much as I've done, I think, in its entirety down there. Well, I've done some of the objectives too. I have cleared the objectives, but in terms of questing, I had no desire, and I was really disappointed because I was really looking forward to the Arakoa zone, especially. I mean, their dungeon there is really cool and everything, but
yeah,
I just that zone
way too many times when you're like, okay, I need to get at this point. How do I climb up this wall? I know this can't be how they want me to get there, but I don't know how they do want me to get there, so I'm just going to try and climb up this wall that, of course, you can't climb up, and then you're stuck, and then you fall, and then you die, and it's awful. So definitely nothing that bad, but High Mountain's definitely a little bit mountainy.
So I think our episode before the pre-patch drops, well, maybe it'll be just before Legion drops. I think we should have like a drinking kind of reminiscing time about Warlords.
Yeah, we can do that.
I think that sounds good. What did you like about that expansion?
Oh my gosh. Can't you, you know what? You know how every expansion, everybody's like, oh man, this is the worst thing they have ever done. And then in the following expansion, they're like, man, that last expansion was the worst thing ever. But 2 expansions later, they're like, oh man, we did not appreciate that. That was just the best. Like right now we're in the mop circle jerk phase.
Oh yeah.
And after, like, I can't wait until like an expansion or 2 in the future when everybody's like, man, I miss WoD. WoD had, I don't even know. WoD, like, to me, in the moment, WoD seems like objectively the worst expansion they've ever done. But what if that's just current expansion, end of expansion goggles? What if 2 expansions from now, everybody's like, you know what? Thrall was a bro. I got to party with my homeboy Velen, and this I don't even know. I can't come up with anything. But what if that happens? There's got to be somebody. There's got to be some WoD apologists
there
that are just waiting for the chance to sing the praises of WoD.
There probably will be, but to be fair, there's only one real winner when it comes to the fact that Warlords of Draenor came out, and that is Cataclysm, because Cataclysm is out there going, whew,
yep,
I am not the worst expansion anymore. And honestly, if they come up with an expansion that doesn't do as well as Warlords, and luckily they're saying, they're not going to stick to patches. They understand they understand yearly expansions just don't work.
They just can't do it. They
well,
physically can't make them that fast.
Well, right. And every expansion, if you want to do it right, they deserve all the time and effort to really make those expansions good. So thank God they're going away from that. So I'm hoping we can return to the 4 patch in particular, kind of expansion. So I hope they're going to go that route. But yeah, if we get something that's as bad or worse than Warlords, that's dangerous. And I don't think they're going to do that.
That's when people start looking seriously at other MMO competitors, or just being like, you know what, I'm going to play Overwatch forever.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at how many people Overwatch has taken from WoW that, like, a lot of the WoW audience is not a first-player shooter audience. I'm chiefly among them. I have never played a shooter game, like, ever, at all. I never did TF2. I never did any MOBA. I've never really done a team-based PvP thing outside of WoW PvP, so I was not really a target market for Overwatch. And I have never had that much fun in a game outside of WoW. Like, it is easily my second favorite game.
Hey.
And, like, I'm not the only one that got ridiculously sucked into Overwatch, considering that that's not the kind of gamer that I am. So I think that they've actually given themselves some competition with that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they want people to have something to do when there's content droughts. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they created their own distraction. And I understand. I mean, for me, like I said, came from FPS. Honestly, I'd never played an MMO until WoW. So as soon as I found out that this thing was coming out, I was just freaking out about it. So I've never really gotten salty or anything or say anything because I never got into the beta. I got the stress test, but I never actually got into the beta. But man, if there was one beta that I ever really wanted to get into, it was that one, and I just missed out. So I'm making up for it now, though. I'm having a blast with it. Playing way too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Legion, let's put it this way, and it's something that I am concerned about because we briefly mentioned about the fact that we've got what is it, just over or just less than 2 months before it's released?
Less than 2 months before Legion releases.
I don't even, what is the date on the release?
August 31st, I want to say. Is that a thing?
Okay, that's
August 31st.
So
Yeah,
just under 2 months.
Maybe the 30th.
And I'm a little concerned about the state of the beta, and the only reason I'm concerned about the state of the beta is because this is feeling a lot like Warlords did when we were kind of getting close to the point where I think at this point even they hadn't said anything about Tanan. Maybe it was 3 months, whatever, but they didn't say anything about Tanan not being released. But it was still like had no textures on it. It was all like white and everything else, and we were like, anybody that would fly over it taking a flight path are going, are they going to get this done?
Yep.
What is going on? And I'm starting to have a little bit of that vibe with the way things are going with this. So I really hope it's not a cluster, especially that first weekend like Warlords was. That was a mess.
Yeah, I think they've taken a lot of effort. A lot of the tech that they kind of developed on emergency when Warlords came out, they like on the spot pretty much came out with that adjustive phasing technology that allows just on one realm there to be multiple copies of it, like a lot of other MMOs do, that automatically are created when there's too many players. And that was something that came out with when Warlords launched, because they're like, oh my god, everything's broken. How on earth do we get people through this? And that was what they ended up coming out with, and they have that ahead of time this time.
Right.
So the game is not only designed to split players up so we're not stacked so much, although I'm a little bit concerned about the Dalaran situation. I am predicting the Dalaran is going to be quite laggy early on, especially as everybody finishes their artifact quest chain and goes there to get to everywhere else. I think everybody's going to kind of get there at once, and that's going to be special, because it has not gotten any bigger. They did not make Dalaran one bit bigger than it was last time.
No.
I got so passionate about that, I forgot what I was saying. Where was I going? What were we talking about?
Well, just talking about the difference between a Warlords launch and a Legion launch.
So I think they're better prepared this time. And I don't think it's going to be as bad. I don't think it's going to be perfect. Everybody's pointing at the Overwatch launch and be going, "Oh my gosh, Overwatch was so smooth." Warlords or Legion's going to be just like that, and that's not true. Just because Overwatch was able to use Amazon servers, like they're actually able to dynamically get more servers, more physical servers as they're needed, and then they don't have to buy them. They're like renting them basically, like they're on an on-need basis. Whereas WoW is a game that is designed in such a way that it still needs physical servers, and those servers are not going to change, and you can't just get more of them. So WoW's still going to be limited by server space. I don't think it's going to be as bad just because, A, they're more prepared, and secondly, I don't think as many people are going to come back for Legion that came back for WoD, because they were kind of burned last time. It feels like everybody that was going to come back came back for WoD and went, well, this is dumb. And now they're gone. And they might come back for Legion, but they're not going to do it right away. Right. They're going to wait for reviews to come in for people to say what the expansion's actually like.
Yeah, I can see that, but I also see a lot of people that are coming back because the Warcraft movie got them all hyped up again. So I don't know. It's gonna be it'll be interesting. It certainly won't be the numbers. I mean that I still am shocked at those numbers for Warlords when people came back. I did not.
Yeah, that
expect
makes me
many.
sad whenever I
Yeah.
think, just because that was such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what. It's a shame to me because I hate to say it. The more I look at Warlords timing with the movie and stuff like that, I feel like Warlords was rushed.
Yeah,
I feel like there was some timing trying to coordinate stuff like that. I don't know, but
between that, the fact that we were on 13 months of Siege of Orgrimmar and they needed to get something out, it was absolutely rushed. Yeah.
Right. It feels like it. I hate saying this. It does feel like it was a half an expansion.
Yeah.
We are all about being positive and about, but we're also gonna be real here. So. Yeah, it's a disappointment. Like you said, a missed opportunity. That's the biggest sadness. And really, I think about this the other day too when I was talking about Arakoa. I was thinking about the Arakoa the other day and seeing Draenor before what happened in the Outlands, before everything went to hell. Hellfire Peninsula, and I was really looking forward to that. And I feel like. I don't know. It just didn't live up to my expectations at all. It doesn't even feel like the same place at all. And I understand, obviously, there was drastic changes, but I don't feel there's any kind of even thin connection sometimes to the two.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I was like you really excited about seeing where everything was, and I was excited when I saw the big mushrooms in the sea, the mushroom tops, because I was like, I remember all those. But it really felt like they didn't really remake it in quite the same way. So I hope they don't do that again. I hope we don't get another another version of something that's like a redone thing. Everybody's saying, oh, they redid the old world and then they redid Outland. Now they're gonna redo Northrend. And we're gonna go back to another Northrend, and I don't want to do another Northrend. We went there already.
Right.
It was filled with snow and zombies. I remember. Let's not.
Well, I would like to see another kind of foray into the Dead and Lich King and whatever next step that story is going to take. Because more than anything for me, I just feel like the story has had a great climax and there's still strands that could continue on, and they've just kind of been dropped and not mentioned. That's one thing that gets a little frustrating, that they don't even kind of try and tie some of that together, even in minute ways. Well, new expansions come out, they just kind of like, oh, that's the end, bam, we're just.
I do think they'll do another Lich King expansion, just because that story so naturally lends itself to evolution. There's obviously more to that story, and I think just as like right now they're kind of tapping into that. Hey, you guys remember Illidan? Illidan was cool. Here's Illidan. I think they're going to do another one of those. I don't know if it's going to be the next expansion, but they're going to pull that out eventually. They've got to.
Right.
That's such a Blizzard thing to do.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, we've got, Burning Crusade, we've got Legion now, so yeah, definitely. And, I think we both have spoken about South Seas. I think that is that what we kind of, even if it's not the next one, I don't know, that whole, everything with Azara, all that stuff really interests me. Kul Tiras.
Yeah, I think that's definitely likely, especially because I don't think they're going to do an Emerald Dream expansion anymore now that they've done some of the Emerald Dream in Legion. I think that's about as deep into it as they're going to go.
Well, they've stated that they've gone away from that, and that's one of the reasons why it is the way it is now. At least there's something to placate us druid folk in particular. So, but yeah, I definitely would like to see the story continue. That's the thing. For me, story is so very important. I just don't care. I think, did we talk about this before? I don't know if we haven't. I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and I love Diablo. I love Diablo 3. I had a fun time playing it and everything else, but I can't continue to play like so many others I know that just sit there and go and grind out these dungeons and stuff like that and just gear up and everything else. I just don't understand it, because I'm like, to what end are you gearing? I mean, are you gonna raid? Without story, I'm just not interested. So
well, how is it that you're so into Overwatch then? I mean, I'm not saying Overwatch doesn't have a story. It absolutely does. It has a very good story, but when you're in the game, you're not actively progressing that story in any way. The story is just kind of a background to what it is you're doing, and you're kind of competing for a spot on a leaderboard, much like you would in Diablo if you're grinding spots. People mostly do that. They mostly grind gear to be able to get onto some sort of leaderboard in terms of Rift, Time Clear, or whatever it is that you do in Diablo. I don't know.
Well, for me, it's about the challenge of playing against other people. It's a PvP environment. It's that other person that is getting in your way and figuring out a way around it, figuring out switching characters and There's just and plus the fact that you have to do it in such a quick amount of time that you have to.
Yeah.
I like that challenge of outwitting my opponent, and so it's definitely that kind of PvP aspect. So when I look at something like Diablo in particular, I don't, because I mean it's just you grinding these other NPCs and everything else, and like I said, that I'm not begrudging anybody else for that for sure. I mean if that's what they are into, that's cool. I don't know. I guess it is a good point. I guess maybe I don't always need story, but
yeah. But I definitely see what you're saying. Not every kind of game is going to be right for everybody. I mean, there's lots of games that just don't tickle the itch.
Okay. With your juicy fire stick.
You should be glad I stopped there. It wasn't going to get any better.
No, there's already lots of mentions in the chat room about it. Let's not give them any water.
Not this week. We gotta pace him.
Yeah,
You can't
absolutely.
overdose on that stuff.
That's right. One a week, but coming back, we just like.
So aside from the Brawlers Guild, is there anything left that you want to get done before pre-patch? There's only 2 weeks left.
There's plenty. There's plenty. Well, as far as we.
Theoretically, yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah. There is, but it's like anything else. Is it worth my time? Do I really care that much? I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's just some of it just takes too much time, and I just don't have that. I come home, working 40 hours a week. I come home about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. By 5:30, we're having dinner, and that's an hour later. And I've got to be in bed by 10 at the latest, so I've got a few hours to myself, and that's try work on some videos or.
Yeah, it's hard to justify dumping 40 hours into a grind that you're really not going to enjoy.
Right.
Yeah, you just got to kind of figure out whether or not you're going to regret it. And more I'm finding myself thinking there's so much in WoW. There are so many titles and so many mounts and so many pets and so many achievements, so much to do that I don't really see myself in the future ever having a moment where I'm like, man, I wish I had done that thing. I wish I had that. I mean, maybe, but I don't think it's going to really break my heart to the point that I should put all the time into it for it.
Well, and, talking about 10 years, after 10 years, there's plenty of things that I would have liked to have gotten. The mount off of Garrosh in particular, I would have liked to have gotten that, but I couldn't get a group. And I didn't even really attempt to try and pug one because it just didn't feel like it was worth my time. So you can't have everything in this game. And that's something that I get frustrated with when people are just like, but I don't like to do this, so you shouldn't make me to get this. Well, you shouldn't always get everything. It's okay if you don't get this or that or the other thing. It's all right.
Yeah.
So, and it's over 10 years, I've kind of gotten used to prioritizing, and I get what I really care about. I mean, like you talk about with the challenge modes, I really wanted a Yeti mount because on the Onward series, Zarks and I did a couple of episodes about the Yetis in Poon Lai, and we had a blast. Those were kind of a little bit iconic to the series, so I was like, Yeti mount, I have to have that.
Yeah.
But then they had the one for Christmas, so I don't care about the challenge mode one anymore.
And if you ask me, the Christmas one's cuter.
I think so too, actually. And I was like, whatever, no problem. I got that. I'm good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One thing that you do need to do, though, is you need to make sure that you go through your characters and find any armor and weapon upgrades, and you vendor them before the pre-patch.
Right, I know.
Everybody.
Isn't that crazy? I can't believe. Now, let me ask you this, because when I tried to do the weapon upgrades, they weren't allowed to be vendored at all. They were just, you could delete them, but I guess
they put a vendor price on them quite a while ago.
30 silver or something like that.
No, they're more than that. Like,
okay.
You might be thinking of something else.
Oh, that's right. No, they are. That's right. They just dropped the price or whatever.
Yeah, no, they're cutting the price down significantly.
That's
so
right.
Anybody that has those should vendor them before the patch. And then if you have salvage crates, and you have a lot of bag space, you could open them before the patch, keep all the stuff, but vendor the armor and weapon upgrades that are in them for full value before the patch drops. I'm not going to do that because I don't have enough bag space to field 10,000 salvage crates worth of crap. But for anybody that's only holding on to like 50 or 100 of them, I would definitely recommend doing that. Even if you have to leave some loot hanging in your mailbox for a while, it's worth it just to make sure you get the extra gold out of it. But
and that's the other thing. We talk about time and everything else. I want to do that too, but the fact that I'll have to like throw a lot of gear back and forth to all different characters that can learn it and all that stuff. My God, that's gonna be
so gross.
it's gonna be weeks
Yep.
of getting that done. And
I've already decided my salvage crate like chore. I'm just gonna do it when I feel like it, and as soon as it's not fun anymore, I'm just gonna stop opening them. I don't think there's a time limit on me opening them.
That's true.
I don't think they're gonna delete them for me, so I'm just gonna do like 20 at a time, and then 5 years later, I'll finally open them all.
Next expansion.
Basically, yeah.
Wrath of the Murloc King. Ooh, there you go.
Wrath of the Moose King.
I like Murloc King better.
Wrath of the Murloc King would be a good movie, but it would need a lot of subtitles. I feel like the moose can probably either speak English or like communicate a lot with a good withering glare.
Now, what if one of the Murlocs become very, very, sentient and could speak and everything?
Well,
Like,
if they did do a Murloc movie, and I've actually put some thought into this, if they did do a Murloc movie, they would have to include that character who's in WoW, the one that wears the Murloc suit, his dry cleaners blackmailing him.
oh God.
Yeah, they would have to put that guy in as like an in-between the Murloc world and the rest of the world.
There'd be one that would be like a mutant. And it'd be like the king of all of them. Yeah. I don't know. It's just an idea.
Okay.
Just a thought. But Neon, actually, to be fair, no, it was Blondie Murloc actually said Wrath of the Moose King, because Neon brought up the friendship moose.
Yep.
And asking in-game or kind of bucket list stuff. Yes, I do have the moose. Luckily, friend Day actually. What about you? You have the moose?
Yeah, my guild cleared Heroic Archimon a long time ago.
Hey.
I was gonna say, my moose is nobody's friend. I was not anybody's friend for that. I fought. I punched Archimon in the face. Nah, I mean, not really.
My guild did Heroic Archimon a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm that person. That's me.
That's right. I sense the tone in that.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Sometimes it just feels really good to be a terrible person.
I don't have friends. I don't need friends. My guild earned it.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm friends with my guild. I can't wait to be raiding again. Like, we've taken a good long break. We haven't been raiding HFC for a while because it gets kind of old, and after we'd cleared it a few times and everybody finished their rings, we were pretty much done. So I kind of miss them. I've been playing some Overwatch with them, but that's not everybody. And I really miss that twice a week just sitting down to raid night and killing some bosses and making some jokes and having some friends. I'm really excited about the Legion raiding. I don't even know what the raids are going to be like, but I have faith in the raiding counter design team that they're going to be good and that we're going to have a great time. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, well, raiding, I didn't do. People did a little. So at least there's that. And so I have to ask, like, if you went out and raided with another guild, would guild be like a Ross and Rachel thing? You'd be like, we were on a break. No?
There has been some talk about me looking into. There's a Mythic raiding guild that has the same schedule as us that I have an in with, but we're not thinking too hard about that.
Not now.
I'm not that hardcore.
Not now.
I'm not breaking that hard. I'm not Mythic material unless I work really hard at it. And you know what? I don't want to think too hard during raid.
No, but if I've learned anything about you, it's this way: you get your mindset on something. I don't like Overwatch. I'm not sure I can play because of you. Bam! She's like level 100. Wait.
Yeah.
So
that's just a willpower thing and more of a lack of willpower thing. It just draws you back in.
Yeah. Well, while we're wrapping up though, talking about things getting completed before we have Legion drop, is there anything Warlord specific you care about getting?
Warlord specific? I don't think so. I think I've given up on everything. There's a bunch of mounts that I don't have that I don't care about. Just because the Warlord's mounts were so underwhelming. I was just typing this plenty in chat. I want to say I have all the WOD rep mounts. I might be missing like a Elic from the trading post rep people. I don't really know. But I am kind of looking at finishing the Insane title right now because of the abilities that are being taken out. I'm losing Angelic Feather. I want to say Burst of Speed is gone. I'm not 100% on that, but I want to say they're taking out Burst of Speed. And if I'm going to be farming lockboxes, I want to do it now.
Right. Well,
I don't want to be bursted. I don't want to be waddling between.
You're waddling from WOD. That's the one thing though, in terms of like the mounts, like you said, they're very underwhelming. I don't know. It was like 5 of them and then like a million reskins of each of them.
And it's a shame because the models were very good. The problem was that there were so many recolors, and those recolors were available from so many different sources, so that
Yep.
you could do some cool, super new, unique thing, and then get a mount that you already have. And then the other problem was that they were animated terribly.
Yeah.
Like somebody real skimped out on that one.
Well, and my thing is too. At least some of the rep ones. I mean, yeah, you can get the rep and then go buy a boar or whatever else for like $50K. I'm like, it's a freaking boar. It's not even that great. It's not unique or anything. It's just a reskin. I'm not spending $50K on that.
Yeah, the only reason I dumped a bunch of gold into those mounts is because I wanted to get my 300, I think.
Right.
Now that I've got that, you can take your boar and you can shove it somewhere.
Yep. See, I thought about doing the same thing for those same reasons, but I'm like, no, can't convince me to. It's still, even though I could afford it, it's still a waste of money. Sorry, not doing it. So anyway, all right, we are past our time, even with all our technical difficulties. I go ahead and head out. Thank you guys very much for stopping by. It's been several weeks, so we appreciate you guys hanging on and dealing with us being a little bit rusty, frankly.
Absolutely.
It's another Rambling Craft episode, but no, I think Fiery Juicy Sticks will gonna win the title this time. So, but and thanks all people on my YouTube channel. By the way, I am kind of trying to get back to a schedule and getting to making videos again. Process, I want to have the current episode of the podcast on like the next day if I can. And so to that end, I had to flood my YouTube channel with episodes. I think I put 8 of our episodes up on Saturday just to catch us up. So thank you guys for putting up with that. I felt bad, like just overloading you guys, but I wanted us to get caught up so we could go ahead and get the new ones on there. So lots of people, though, are really want to listen to it on YouTube. You found that out as well on your channel, so...
Yeah, and I'm glad you're uploading them next day because I just kind of fit them in whenever I don't have a video to put up for the day, and I've been very slow about it, so it's a good thing you're on top of it.
Well, I'm not. I am now, but it took forever to finally do it. But to be fair, part of that, honestly, was with my hard drive crash, I lost everything, so having editing and anything to encode a video, something that I was able. So, to be fair, the first couple that I did put up on the channel, I ripped off from your channel. So, but now I'm able to make my... Well, I figured you are. But yeah, I'm now able to actually... I'll have the new... Thank you guys again for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
This way on a holiday.
We should be able to see you next week. I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah, no, I think we are full bore into Legion. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, and I think we spend this few weeks prep. Cool. We're gonna get a lot of news and a lot of stuff. I mean, think about the cutscenes that we haven't actually had into the game yet, and they're gonna.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Can't wait. All right, guys, thank you very much, and thanks Blondie for staying up till like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yeah, go get some sleep.
Yes, go rest, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye.
I rolled a 20.